Hey everybody, today we're making zucchini fritters. Now there's all kinds of ways to make fritters, but this is my kind of way. And I encourage you to add or subtract things that you don't like, that you do like with the herbs and seasonings. But I promise you, as you keep cooking, you will find things that you enjoy. So the zucchini fritters that I'm going to use, it's going to take about 2 to 3 medium-sized to small-sized zucchini. And we're going to shred those very shortly. We're going to use half of an onion. We're going to use both dill and chives. I have dry. Obviously, I would think the fresh one tastes better, but I don't have all that. So we're going to go with the dry part. The herbs I'm using is cumin and smoked paprika. I absolutely love smoked paprika. Someone just asked me, how do you know what herbs to, or what seasonings to put in certain things? And I say, try it. You probably all have a cabinet full of stuff that you've never used or used for one recipe. Pick a herb or pick a seasoning and try it in different things and you'll see what you like. I will do another video on the different seasonings and herbs of different cultures and that might help you as well. But for today, we're going to use cumin and smoked paprika. And then also I have about 3 cloves of chopped garlic. Okay, so we're going to start this recipe with our zucchini. Now, zucchini is very high in water, so you will have to get rid of some of that water. But to start, I am going to just process these. All right, it's gonna be a little loud, but just give me a minute. Cassie's got to do some work here. In fact, I think I'm gonna chop them down. Speaking of which, some of you may be new to whole food plant-based eating, and if you are, there are certain tools that you need to be successful, and we'll do some more on the tools, but this is Cassie, okay? Cassie is necessary. Cassie is my food processor. She's nice and big. I name my equipment, and I encourage you to do that as well. Cassie will get the job done, and that's exactly what I need. She's nice and quick, and she cleans very easily, so she's going to work it out with this zucchini, and so it's gonna be a little loud, but we'll be done very shortly. Okay? Give me a moment. Done. You could not get much more quicker than that. If you have zucchini breads or muffins or whatnot, Cassie is the girl, I'm trying to tell you. Okay, so once you open it up, you're gonna have all kinds of zucchini in here, and I don't like wasting anything, so I'm gonna put some over here. As I mentioned, zucchini is very high in water, so it's nicely shredded. However, we need to get rid of some of that water. So what I encourage you to do is I encourage you to put it in a strainer and add a little bit of salt and then put something on it so that the water can, come out of it. Now, once you add that salt, leave it on there for about 30 minutes, 40 minutes or whatnot, and it's gonna look like this. I have one that I did earlier. I'm gonna save this later because I'm gonna make some lasagna with that later, but this is what I have for the fritters. Now, even though I had it sitting here for over an hour, it's still very full of water, okay? So we need to wring some of this water out. I'm just going to wring it with my hands. Maybe you can hear it draining. And once I get all the water out that I want, I'm going to bring it back over and we'll get started. Some may ask, do I need to do that? I don't have time for that, Sabrina. And that's fine. You can certainly try it. However, your fritters aren't going to come out as well because it's going to be very waterlogged and it might not fry up or not get as crisp as you'd like. But that was after sitting for a little bit. Honestly, I think I put maybe 2 teaspoons of salt on here, and then I just put a pan on it, pulled something out of the refrigerator that was heavy and put that in there. Okay. Honestly, I think this is still kind of wet, but for the purpose of today's video, I am going to just keep on moving. Okay. All right. So this is actually kind of a dry mix here, but what's going to make it a little bit more wet besides the water is going to be the flour. Now, one of the things that oftentimes people ask is, Sabrina, where do you get your protein from? Like, I heard a comedian talk about, well, I don't go to KFC, ask where I'm getting protein from. So it doesn't matter. But in this recipe, I am going to use chickpea flour, okay? Chickpea flour is made from chickpeas, which is very high in protein. And so, but it works the same way. If you don't have chickpea flour, don't worry about it. You can use a half a cup of regular all-purpose flour and a half a cup of whole wheat flour or all-purpose flour. It really depends on what I have, you know, in the cabinet. So I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of chickpea flour. And if you're looking for it, this is where I get mine at Walmart, and it is the Just About organic chickpea flour. Some people ask me about that, and I just keep it right where I keep the rest of my flours. And for today, I'm going to use whole wheat flour, okay? Like I said, if you only have all-purpose flour, then just use all-purpose flour. It's okay. Sometimes people will use panko breadcrumbs, things like that. I did not do that today, although if I don't think it's going to be crispy enough, I might just add them later. All right. So we're going to add our 3 tablespoons, or teaspoons rather, of garlic. We're going to add our seasonings. Today is cumin and smoked paprika. We're going to add our dry herbs. I have both dill and chives. And I forgot my salt. Hang on one moment. Even though we salted it a little bit to get the liquid out, I got rid of a lot of that liquid. So I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of salt. And the last thing we're going to do is let's add a 1/2 onion. There's not too many things that I use more in this kitchen than onions and garlic, really. So I had this 1/2 one from something else I was doing. Normally I would chop this up a little bit better, but that's okay. Onions give a lot of flavor, and you're also going to see in this recipe that it's very colorful. I really encourage you to have lots of color in your food. The more color you have, the more vitamins and nutrients there are in the food that you're eating. That's why they say, you know, your white bread, white flour, and all that really isn't too healthy for a number of reasons. But when it comes to your vegetables like this, you want to add all kinds of color. And we have herbs and seasonings. Or actually, I think I'm going to actually add some corn in this one too. Corn will add a little bit of sweetness to it. My daughter loves corn, so we're going to add some corn. I have some out for a different recipe, but I think I'm going to add that. This particular recipe is asking for, how much onions? They're like a 1/2 cup of onions. Yeah, something like that. I always go over. I love onions and garlic in everything, so I usually will add a little bit more. And it's vegetable, darn it, which is good for you. Can't have too many. As you learn to cook in a new way or try new recipes, make sure it has the stuff that you like. You know what I mean? If you have that one vegetable, learn how to cook the poop out of that thing till you try something else. It's all learning. All right. Okay. Just gonna go with a 1/2 one. All right. So let's give this a stir just to get your ingredients mixed. It's gonna feel very wet, but I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil as well, and that's gonna help. I've made this a number of times, and I've added water to a little bit, especially with my chickpea flour. You just want to add a little bit of water. Sometimes that'll make it nice and sticky. And you'll realize very quickly when you are learning to just cook all plant-based, you don't need egg to hold things together. Especially if you have flour. All you got to do is flour and water and you make a loaf of bread, right? You know, there's no eggs necessary to that. So it's the same with this recipe as well. All right, you're going to see it's very colorful. You see all the herbs and the spices. That looks beautiful, and it smells absolutely delicious. Didn't even cook anything. All right, so let's grab the olive oil. I need about 3 or 4 tablespoons of olive oil. All right. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons in here, and the other 2 tablespoons I'm going to put in the pan. And then I think we're going to add a little bit of water. About a 1/4 cup of water, just to get the flours a little wet so they can start sticking to each other. thing I didn't add is some pepper. You can also add cayenne pepper to this if you want a little bit of a kick. I don't want a kick today, so I'm just going to go with regular black pepper. And just that little bit of water, I can see that it's starting to get a little thick, which is exactly what I want. While that sits, just clean off my area, and we are going to get our heating element together here. So some will ask about veggies and whatnot, and I would say when you are doing fritters, maybe I'll do a video on that. When you're doing fritters, you can add all kinds of vegetables to your fritters. You can add, you know, whatever you like. If I had time, I would shred up some potatoes. That would be fabulous in these fritters. Almost make it like a vegetable fritter, but for breakfast. You can also add really almost any kind of vegetable that you have. Sometimes on a Friday, I'll go through the refrigerator and see what else is in there. And whatever I have left over can become a fritter. Okay, just saying. All right. So I'm gonna let this get hot. I'm gonna heat up the grease. I'm gonna make these in patties, and I'll be back. All right, this sat for a little bit, and I needed to add my corn. So I'm going to come back and put a little bit of corn. I like I don't do a lot in the cans, but I like canned corn because as long as it only has corn and water and salt in it, it just adds a little sweetness to everything. So I'm just going to mix a little bit of corn, lost a few, and then we're going to move on to something else. So what we're going to eat with our zucchini fritters, as this heats up, we are going to make some Tex-Mex sweet potatoes. And the Tex-Mex piece is going to be a little bit of corn, a little bit of black beans. If you want to actually go with some of the same kind of herbs and seasoning, we can put a little bit of cumin in there, a little bit of olive oil, some red onion, mix that up, and we're going to put it over top of the sweet potatoes. Now, yesterday I made the sweet potatoes, so you didn't see that, but a very quick way to make your sweet potatoes is slice them down the center, put a little bit of olive oil on each side, lay them flat down on a baking tray, and bake them for about 45 minutes. It is perfect. They don't burst, you don't have a lot of things dripping out of them, but they come out beautifully. And once they're nice and soft, then all you have to do is just fill them with something. And that's really what we're going to do today. Like I said, I've roasted these, some are already eaten, but we're just going to make that a little soft, and we're going to put a filling inside. Again, when it comes to protein, we do eat a lot of beans and whatnot, so I'm going to have my black beans in here. I have some chickpea flour in there, so my protein is covered for this meal. So let's get in here and make something tasty. All right. So this is going to be a small little bowl of something, and actually it's going to be really good for lunch. I'm hoping I have some left over. So I have 1 can of black beans. I ran out of corn because Sarah was eating the corn, and then I put some corn in there, but I do have a little bit of corn. But it's going to be the seasonings and things that really make this pop. We're also going to add to this some lime juice. So I have a lime that I picked up. Just going to make it nice and juicy on the inside. Now, some of you, may not have a lot of gadgets and tools and stuff, and I used to didn't, but this little thing right here, oh my gosh, I use it all the time. Keeps the seeds out of my stuff. I know my husband gets sick of washing this thing, but I really do use it on a regular basis, and it gets all the juice out. All right, so we have lime juice, we have black beans, we have the corn. Speaking of the black beans, all I did was open the can and wash the gook off, okay? I encourage you to watch what's on your cans or in your canned food. Hopefully it's just salt water and the bean itself, but some have other chemicals, so just be careful. All right, we're also going to add to this a diced red onion. We're going to just get maybe a 1/4 cup. Red onions can sometimes be a little overpowering, but if you make them nice and small, add some seasonings, you will be fine. Okay. If you like more than a quarter cup, you can add as much onion as you'd like. I am really starting to like red onions. In fact, I'm going to be pickling some probably in the next week or so, and that way it'll soften it. It'll add a little bit of sweetness to the pickling, and you can just put it over top of everything, which I have every intention of doing. So just a thought on the red onions. Okay. Now this one's, like I said, asked for only a quarter cup. It's the first time I'm making this particular recipe, but I had the sweet potatoes, and I knew I wanted to make something with them. So I actually will measure this one out. Those that know me know I do not measure stuff, but I will do it today so I don't go over. All right, that looks good. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, so I'll probably just put it all in there. Yeah. Do it a quarter of an onion. All right. I think what we might add to this also is a little bit of garlic. I think that would be good too. Hang on. This recipe is starting to remind me of what's called a Texas caviar. We'll be making that in the summertime. Great thing to take to any party or whatnot. It's just a whole bunch of different kinds of beans, corn, red pepper, yellow pepper, garlic, onions, red onions, and then like a dressing. It is so, so good. We'll work on that later. Now, this is about 2 cloves of garlic. We're just gonna put it on there. Now I know what you're saying, Sabrina, why are you not using whole real garlic? Why are you using the kind in a jar? Because I didn't have any whole real garlic, and this is really quick. In fact, I have a garden, a whole square-foot garden full of garlic cloves that I put in the fall. So hopefully you will see when my garlic comes out of there, and then I'll be good to go. Okay, so we have our onions, we have corn, we have our beans, lime juice. We're going to put a little bit of salt and pepper in here. What else did I have that I wanted to put in here? Yep. I don't have fresh cilantro, although that would really taste really good in here. But I do have some dried cilantro, so I'm going to put a little bit of dried cilantro in here as well. Okay. Salt, pepper. If you'd like, try cayenne. And let's see, cilantro. Nope. We were just talking about a cabinet full of herbs and seasonings, so I definitely have a cabinet full of herbs and seasoning. That's just how it is. But I like to try different things. For a long time, I didn't try any. I didn't know what it tasted like. But now I will just sprinkle this, sprinkle that until I find something I love. I told you, smoked paprika is my favorite right now. However, I love marjoram. Never knew what marjoram was until I got it for some recipe, and I just started adding it to recipes, and I really like it. All right, so the last thing I'm going to add is a little bit of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and this is done. The only thing that would make this even better would be some avocados. But I do have some guacamole in the refrigerator. Maybe I can top it with some guacamole. All right. So, sorry about that. So this will be a meal for us to go along with my fritters. It's full of fresh vegetables, sorry. It has herbs, it has spices, it has seasonings, it has color. The flavor is awesome. Like I said, we could have put some more cumin in here, all kinds of things. You want to hit stop. Honey, turn it off. That will be part of our dinner. All right, I'm just going to clean this area up a little bit, and we will start cooking. All right, I think it's easiest to put these in patties and sit them out so they can set, and then we'll be ready to fry them up. I never know. Excuse me. You can make these as big or little as you'd like them to be. I usually try one to see if it sticks. And if it doesn't hold together as much as I'd like, then I probably will add a little bit more flour. I think I will for these, just a little bit more. Yeah, I think I'm gonna add a little bit more flour. I think we're gonna try some white flour. And that should be good. All right, my white flour is over here. Let's go with about, start with a 1/4 cup, see what that looks like. I think that's good. Again, if you want to add some panko breadcrumbs and get a little bit more crispiness on the outside, you certainly can do that as well. Yeah, much better. Okay. This recipe makes 8 large ones, but you can certainly make them a little smaller. Sometimes I like to make them smaller so they go a little farther. That way we don't eat them all during this meal, but I like them for lunch or certainly meal prep. I think it's a great way for you to get a head start on your meals so that you don't have to cook every day. I'm trying to get back into that because Sunday used to be my meal prep day, or Saturday actually would be my meal prep day, where I would prep a number of things and pack them away. That way my lunch is done. I used to do it with my daughter when she lived, when she was away at school, and we would meal prep. I would even go to her campus and we'd be meal prepping, and that way she would be good for the week. Especially when we first started following a whole food plant-based lifestyle. If you're working, you don't have time to think about all those things. Even though I absolutely love to cook and love to be in the kitchen, it still was a lot to try to figure out. So we would just go through our recipes and think of some things and write it down. And then that Saturday would come, get up, have everything out, hit the grocery store, and we could meal prep. I think we're good. All right, let's see what she looks like. This one's a little too big. As soon as it hits the grease, you can smell the seasonings. You can smell the cumin. Cumin is pretty strong, so if you don't like the scent of cumin, just use something else. But all the chives and the herbs, it's just awesome. Now to go along with these, I didn't show you guys, but I did make a cream sauce. It's a cashew cream to go with it. And all I did was I had about 1/2 cup of cashews and 1/2 cup of milk and some seasonings for the liquid. And I have it getting cold in the refrigerator. And that is going to taste fabulous. I wonder if I could put maybe the last couple, we can maybe put some panko in it just to see the differences. You want to do that? I like trying things. Sometimes people just don't cook because they're worried it's not going to turn out, it's not going to be good. But if you start with whole food, if you start with good tasting vegetables or good tasting ingredients, pretty much no matter how you cook it, it's probably going to come out and taste good. Might not look right, but it tastes good, right? And as long as it's yours, as long as you did it, I'll tell you, I enjoy being in the kitchen. I enjoy trying new things. And I'll tell you, some of the best recipes I've made are those that I did by accident or didn't do what I thought it was going to do. So just try it. Those of you that do not want to use oil, you can always bake these in the oven or put them in the air fryer. That's what I'm going to do. My next one is my air fryer. My son bought me an air fryer for Christmas 2 years ago, and I've been using it more and more. So you're going to see it. You're going to see her come out. I'll introduce you to her a little bit later. But you can definitely put these in the air fryer. I would just suggest you add a little bit of oil to the outside because the air fryer will cook things. It doesn't fry it the same way, but it'll look a little different. But certainly it's a great way to be able to cook without using any or very little oil. Okay, I'm just going to finish making these into the patties, and then we're going to flip our zucchini fritters. My stove is a gas stove, so I only use this one for, you know, for my cooking videos. I prefer gas, so I never know sometimes how this thing's going to cook because it is electric. So let's hope that we are not burning up stuff and I don't set an alarm off. All right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Got a good amount out. All right. Let's see. Yeah, they're looking good. Definitely looking good. So while they are cooking, I'm gonna clean up my workspace here, and then we are good to go. So what I'd like you guys to tell me in the chat is, what do you do with zucchini? You know, give me some good recipes, because I have a lot coming out of the garden, and I've been keeping track of all kinds of zucchini recipes. So if you want to know what I found, find me on Pinterest. I have a whole Pinterest page just of vegan zucchini recipes, so you can go there and check it out. But I'd love to know what else you are doing with your zucchini. One of my other favorite ones is our casserole, and I use both squash, yellow squash, as well as the zucchini, but that is fabulous. I slice them really nice and thin. I'll, you know, have a layer of the green, a layer of the yellow, a layer of potatoes, season it up really good. Man, that's good. Lay them in a pan and cook it up. It's excellent, excellent. So yeah, let me know what you guys are doing. All right, I think it's about time to flip these over and check it out. Not quite time. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Should get a lot hotter than this. I said I love my gas stove. I think we're going to have to do the next video at my gas stove. I guess we're going to have to do that. Just edit all that out. The other thing we made for dinner tonight is some macaroni and cheese sauce. Wait till I show you how to do that one. Yeah, excellent. Very easy, very quick. Mine is cashew based, but the sauce is absolutely phenomenal. So I turned that up, so that should be cooking a little faster now. And we should be able to eat even quicker. Here we go. I wish you could see the brownness on this. Very nice. All right, it's cooking. Gonna keep it up high. Yeah, that's crisping up really nicely when you turn it up a little high on these one burner things. Gas, I'd probably put about medium to high though. Just always check it. Depending on how much oil you have, it certainly could burn. Like I said, you could bake them, or I probably have about a half a cup of oil. Might be more than what you want, and that's fine. Just, you know, use what's best for you. Let's check on our sauce. I made the sauce in my little NutriBullet, but it's nice and thick. I wish you'd be able to see that. Maybe you'll be able to get close a little later, but as I mentioned, it's just the milk, the cashews, some salt and pepper. I think there's some garlic powder in there. Smoked paprika would have been good in there. It almost has a remoulade. That's what I was trying to get to, like a remoulade sauce that you put on some fried green tomatoes or whatnot. So we will be working on that there sauce to perfect that before my tomatoes are ready. All right, let's see if I can get that in a bowl or any cup. You can see how thick that is. Is it coming? Look at that. I'll put the recipe down in the description box. All right, that's done. Our Tex-Mex potatoes are done. Just waiting for these. Yeah. I'm gonna finish these three, let the other ones cook while you take a look at what we made. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't she pretty? She's gonna be tasty too. This is good for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. I'm eating her all week. You want to make sure they cook long enough to cook the onions, especially if you're going to have them kind of thick. And I made these a little thicker than than I had to, but I like them thick. I'm gonna fit this last one in there somewhere. Oh, I have two more. All right. So we will let these cook as we bring this to a close. So today we made two things. We made some zucchini fritters with lots of herbs and corn. I made the cashew cream sauce. You didn't get to see that, but I'll put that in the description box. And I made some Tex-Mex stuffed sweet potatoes with lime and red onions and black beans and corn. All of these can be customized to something that you like, but this is how we do it in my house because it is always time to cook. You guys have a blessed day, and put your comments in the description box below. Hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks. See you in the next video.